بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. We're just going to take a couple of minutes to reflect on ayat from Surah Al-A'raf. But the context of those ayat is important. So this is when Bani Israel were faced by significant torture and atrocities happening by Fir'aun and his people. And the situation was starting to be unbearable for Bani Israel. So they really could not be patient much. They were feeling the pain, they were getting killed, they were getting impacted in all directions. So Sayyidina Musa actually advises them. So we're going to just focus on this advice to try to learn from it a couple of good things, inshallah. So Sayyidina Musa tells them, قال موسى لقومه استعينوا بالله واصبروا. The first advice of Sayyidina Musa to his people was, rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we use ista'inu in Arabic, it means do your utmost best, but have your heart connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Know that Allah controls everything at the end of the day. So the first thing was ista'inu billah wasbiru. Now wasbiru has a very important meaning for us. Because Sayyidina Musa did not tell them ista'inu billah and then you're going to win. He actually told them, rely fully on Allah, try your utmost best, and rely on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then at the end of the day, you have to be patient. You have to be patient. Because sometimes we think, being the believers, being on the right side, that we're going to win. That's not how Allah does it on this earth. That's not how Allah's decree is. You could be on the right side, you could be believing, you could be worshipping the whole day and night, and still you might not win in this life. And that's what then Sayyidina Musa explains to all of us. And tells them, "Sta'inu billahi wasbiru." And then he puts the rule that we should live by and understand in our life. Sayyidina Musa tells them, إِنَّ الْأَرْضَ لِلَّهِ يُورِثُهَا مَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ. This world is Allah's. And Allah's going to give whoever He wishes from His servants. So don't think that just because you're a believer, that then you have a golden ticket that you need to win in this life. But then Sayyidina Musa continues so we understand the actual equation. So he says, إِنَّ الْأَرْضَ لِلَّهِ يُورِثُهَا مَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. But the hereafter, this is where you have the golden ticket. If you are actually doing your best, if you're relying on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if you're patient, then your golden ticket is in the hereafter. You might still win, because Allah says, again in the Quran, with Sayyidina Musa, إِنَّ الْأَرْضَ لِلَّهِ يُورِثُهَا مَنْ يَشَاءُ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ. Perhaps Allah's going to give it to you. Perhaps Allah's going to give you the victory in this life or in the hereafter. Now the interesting thing, the scholars tell us, al-aqibah, the first understanding is it's in the hereafter. But when you actually think about it and when you look at it closer, it just means that it's something postponed. Aqibah means it comes after. So some scholars also tell us that eventually victory will come to the believers. And they take it also from the ayat that says, إِنَّا لَنَنْصُرُ رُسُلَنَا وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَيَوْمَ يَقُومُ الْأَشْهَادُ. That Allah has promised that He's going to actually support His messengers and people that believe in this life and in the hereafter. Just very quickly, in the following ayah, Bani Israel could not be patient. قَالُوا أُولِينَا مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ تَأْتِيَنَا وَمِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جِئْتَنَا. We were harmed before you came to us, O Sayyidina Musa, and then after you came to us, we're getting harmed. You're telling us, be patient. You're telling us all those great things. We want something now. We want victory now. You cannot wait and do all that stuff. So they explain, they say, قَالُوا أُولِينَا مِنْ قَبْلِ أَنْ تَأْتِيَنَا وَمِنْ بَعْدِ مَا جِئْتَنَا. So Sayyidina Musa gives them glad tidings, but he also gives us something to all think about. Sayyidina Musa tells them, عَسَى رَبُّكُمْ أَنْ يُهْلِكَ عَدُوَّكُمْ وَيَسْتَخْلِفَكُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ فَيَنْظُرَ كَيْفَ تَعْمَلُونَ. He tells them perhaps, and when a prophet says perhaps, then it's going to happen, inshallah. So he says, perhaps Allah's going to defeat your enemy and then give you this earth. Now, He's not going to give it to you because it's a present for you. He's going to give it to you so that He sees how you're going to behave. Now, we need to look into ourselves. And if we say, if our enemies on this world vanish and we took over, are we actually ready to do something good? Are we personally ready to take that responsibility? Or are we just hiding behind saying we have enemies that are doing this, this, and that to us? And it's easy to think about the Middle East and overseas. But what we really need to think about is this masjid. If you're managing this masjid, are you ready to do something good to the community? If we're united in Irvine, are we ready to do something good to the broader community in Irvine? If we're as Muslims united in the United States, will we actually benefit the country we're in? So we have to all look at ourselves. It's very easy to point to others and say, yes, everything is against us. But we have to look at ourselves and ask the question that Sayyidina Musa is telling them about, which is, if Allah were to give you that victory, and they got the victory eventually, and you know from their story that they could not really uphold the promise that they gave. So what could we do? That this is what we learn from those stories. So first of all, foremost, just to summarize very quickly, one, we have to do our best and rely fully on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second, we have to be patient. Being believers is not a golden ticket in this life. We have to understand the equation of this life. Allah will give victory to whoever He wills, whenever He wills, subhanahu wa ta'ala. But the hereafter, and eventually, the victory is to the believers. We need to stick by being the believers. But we also have to be ready. If Allah gives us that victory, if we have an authority, are we actually ready to take advantage over it and benefit society around us? So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us conviction, give us patience, and understanding of the Quran, make us implement the Quran in our life, make us draw lessons from the stories of the people before us. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be with our brothers and sisters in Palestine, particularly in Gaza, and all over. Oh Allah, protect them. Oh Allah, accept their martyrs. Oh Allah, heal their wounded, and give patience and perseverance to the survivors. اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا وتجاوز عن سيئاتنا. اللهم اغفر لنا ولاخواننا الذين سبقونا بالايمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين امنوا ربنا انك رؤوف رحيم. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا ان نسينا واخطانا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا اصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقه لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا انت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم انا نسالك من خير ما سالك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ونعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذك منه نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. واخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك.